Hello everyone, my name is Lasudoranban from MS Blue Fourth Semester. My presentation topic is on the goals of counseling. Here is the contents. First, I got the introduction, then the concept, reason for setting goals, then the goals of counseling, major goals of counseling, function of counseling goals, conclusion, and at last the references. Here are the definitions of goal. According to the online etymology dictionary, the word goal emerged in the 16th century, referring to the endpoint of a race. Its origins are uncertain, but may be related to the Old English goal, meaning obstacle or barrier. Then, according to Austin and Vancouver, they define goals as the internal representations of desired states. Then, according to Kruglansky 2009, goals are subjectively desirable states of affairs that the individual intends to attain through action. Then, according to Eliot and Nestus 2009, they define goal as a cognitive representation of a future object that an organism is committed to approach or avoid. Then I have the concept. Specific goals of counseling are unique to each client. Why? Because every individual is different, and these goals involve a consideration of the client's expectation and as well as the environmental aspects. Then the counselor has the role of understanding the behavior, the motivations and feelings of the counselee. The counselee's goals are not limited to understanding his clients, as it has different goals and different levels of functioning. Goal is important as it provides a sense of direction that can overcome their immediate problem and purpose in the counseling process. It also establishes a congruency between what is demanded or sought by the client and what is possible or practical. That means goals act as an agreement between what is demanded or obtained by the client and what is possible or practical. Then the goals of counseling is to help individuals overcome their immediate problem and also equip them to meet future issues and problems. Then I have the reason for setting goals. That means why it is needed to set the goals before any counseling process. First, it is important to set goals as it can help the clients be more conscious of their goals and at the same time to be more able to develop and sustain plans for their actualization. It also helps clients to elicit or establish goals that are more salutogenic. That means it also helps the client to draw out goals that are more important, that are challenging, approach intrinsic and specific, simple, proximal and supported by implementation, intentions, mental contrasting and feedback. Then I have the goals of counseling. The goals of counseling may be described as immediate, long-range and process goals. These goals shape the counselees and counselors' interrelations and behavior as well. So now we will discuss one by one. First is the immediate goals. The immediate goals of counseling refer to the problems for which the client is seeking solution here and now, which means that these immediate goals are focusing on the problems that the client is facing in the present situation. And through immediate goals, the counselee could be helped to gain fuller self-understanding through self-exploration or examining by himself and to appreciate his strengths and weaknesses. And in helping the client set up these goals, the counselor could provide necessary information. But these informations, however exhaustive, or in other words, we can say in all aspects, may not be useful unless the client has an integrative understanding of himself, which include his personal resources and the environmental resources as well. Then now I have the process goals. The process goals are basic counseling dimensions or the basic counseling features which are essential conditions for the counseling to take place. These process goals comprises empathetic understanding, warmth and friendliness, which provides for interpersonal exploration, and it also helps the client in self-exploration and self-understanding and eventually lead to a long-range goals. Then now I have the long-range goals. The long-range goals are those goals that reflect the counselor's philosophy of life, and they could be stated as to help the counselee to become self-actualization. That means to help the counselee realize his own potentiality and his fulfillment on his own talent. Then to help the counselee attain self-realization. That means to help the counselee attain his own potential. And to help the counselee become a fully functioning person. That means a person who has responsibility of his own. Then there is an interrelation between long range and immediate goals. Why? Because they both depend on the process goals for their realization. Then now I have the major goals of counseling. Number 1 is the achievement of a positive mental health. Achievement of a positive mental health is identified as an important counseling goal by some individuals who claim that one reaches or secures positive mental health, one learns to adjust and responds more positively to people and situations. It shows that when a client achieves this type of goal of positive mental health, he learns how to adjust himself and with others in a more positive situations. Then on the other hand, prevention of emotional tensions such other problems is also an important goal of counseling. Then this Gell and Muller hold that the promotion and development of feelings of being like, sharing with and receiving and giving interaction towards from other humans is the legitimate goal of counseling. Then I have another goal, that is the resolution of problems. Yes, another goal of counseling is the resolving of the problem brought to the counselor. Then it is an outcome of the former goal and implies positive mental health. In behavioral terms, 3 categories of behavioral goals can be identified, namely the altering maladaptive behavior, that is the becoming maladjustment in his behavior, then the learning, the decision making process, and the preventing problems. Then I have the improving personal effectiveness. Yet another goal of counseling is that of to improve the personal effectiveness of the counselee. This blocker defines improving personal effectiveness and effective person as one who is able to commit himself to projects, investing time and energy, and willing to take appropriate economic, psychological and physical risks. A client who is having a goal of improving personal effectiveness, he is seen as having the competence outside and with his own typical role situation. Then the counselor is also seen as a person who is being able to think different and original, that is in creative ways. Then the counseling to help changes. Then according to Blocker, the goal to help changes to the counselee shall maximize individual freedom to choose and act within conditions imposed by the environment. Then the other goal is that the counseling should increase the effectiveness of the individual responses evolved by the environment. Then another goal is decision making as a goal of counseling. It is meant that the individual should learn to make decisions independently by their own, and decisions are always the counselee's own and they are responsible for themselves. In the process of decision making, we must remember that information may be required and the counselor should provide it or help to obtain it, and the information should be clarified, sorted out or analyzed by the counselor. Then the counselor should also help in this such that the counselee is able to make responsible decisions. But we must remember that even though decisions has to decide on by the counselee itself on his own, but one of the primary functions of the counselor here is to help clarify a counselee's goal. Then I have the modification of behavior as a goal. Behaviorally oriented counselors stress the need for the modification of behavior. For example, removal of undesirable behavior or the action. Then growth-oriented counselors stress on the development of potentialities within the individual. That means a counselor is helping on the development of capabilities that a counselee has. Then existentiality-oriented counselors stress self-enhancement and self-fulfillment. So the counselor is also helping the counselee to increase on his own qualities and his own fulfillment. Then here I have the function of counseling goals. First function of counseling goal is that it serves as a motivational factor in counseling. Then secondly, goal can have an educational function in counseling as it helps clients to acquire new responses. And the third goal, meet evaluative function in counseling, whereby clients' goal help the counselor to select and evaluate different counseling strategies appropriate to achieve the client's goal. By Hackney and Cormier in 1996. Then I have come to the conclusion. Goals of counseling is needed as it helps the client change towards positive behavior in order to increase the client's ability to begin and to have continuous relationship with others. Then the goals of counseling are helping the counselee to become self-realization. That means by helping the counselee by becoming a fully functioning person with psychologically mature and capable of realizing his potentials optimally. And it is through setting up of goals in counseling that can be able to resolve issues of the counselee to make him be an independent individual with full effectiveness of his own responsibility. Then these are the references. Thank you.